Hello community of collectors. If you watch my channel or go into my history, you'll find that I like these cars made by Aoshima, and they're called the Grachan Collection. They're all these Bosozoku styled cars, Liberty Walk body kits, and just really just goofy, crazy looking body kits on old classic Japanese cars. So we got this one here today. This is the Mazda RX3 from 1975, but again with this Liberty Walk body kit on it. So let's see here. Comes in a blister. Unfortunately, there's no box, just the blister itself. So I was researching this car because I know nothing about it. I've never seen one in person or anything like that. Apparently Mazda had a line called the Mazda Grand Familia, and those are in regular piston powered vehicles like inline fours and stuff. But the rotary powered variations were called the Mazda Savannah in Japan, and then the RX3 in export markets. So that's interesting. And in 1973 they had an update, so I'm mentioning that because this is a 1975 version, and it has a 1.2 liter twin rotor, and in Japan they're making 130 horsepower or so, but for the United States at least they're dropped to 90 horsepower, I think, for smog emissions and stuff like that. Let's see here. Okay, so the car was very successful in racing. It took on the Nissan Skylines in the Japanese Grand Prix of 1972, and it won the touring car category that year. And then by 1976, it had racked up over 100 victories racing in Japan. So I never knew that either. So that's pretty cool. They're also sold in Australia and North America, of course. I mentioned that earlier, but they also raced in those countries and were pretty successful as well. SCCA racing and the Bathurst races. Okay, so that's all I really learned about it, so let's take a closer look here. Let's start with the top for some reason, because I'm noticing the paint rash. You know, it's a red car. It's not brand new. When you mention those two phrases, it tends to lead to paint rash, sadly. But this, for some reason, this particular casting is pretty expensive on eBay and rare, so I want to fill out my collection of these Grachan castings, so this is one of the last ones I'm getting. I think there's still one more after this one, but we'll see if that ever happens. It's pretty cool front end. I'm just looking at the headlights here, you know, the clear plastic here, but the way that they molded the back, you know, it looks like there are bulbs in there. I like it. Sadly, all these Grachans never have any text printed on them, so there's no logo. It's just the shape of it. So Aoshima's kind of lazy that way. It's too bad. This is nice. You know, orange painted turn signals, the black chin spoiler. It's alright. A little more paint rash though. Some silver trim painted, and then this bumper is molded in and is painted silver. We got another turn signal here. Looks alright. The Liberty Walk fenders with some body screw indication. Ah, boy, paint rash. Okay, and a silver door handle seems to be sticking out a tiny bit, and then must be a bump for a key. Some silver and black paint around the windows here, but I think it's painting the casting, not the plastic itself. Aoshima also has pretty lame wheels. They never have air passing between the spokes, at least on these Grachans mostly. Some poorly applied paint here. They didn't have enough silver there. Orange there on the turn signal. Pretty cool taillights. I think, yeah, are they translucent plastic? I'm debating. Kind of feel like they are. I think they are translucent, but they painted a lot of it black, so it's... But if you look, yeah, it looks like there's the other side, you can see that darkness. That's the other side of the red plastic. Alright, so that's pretty cool. Depth to those taillights there. And then silver and orange here for this bumper. The wing here. A little black back here. Maybe some passive vents or something. Okay. Well, This one actually says Aoshima. A lot of them are totally blank. And it's nice that it's screwed together, so wheel swap would be easy. Or painting the boring plain black interior would be easier to do. So I'll show you this interior. There is molded detail. I can clearly see some gauges and stuff like that through these highly distorted molded windows. But, you know, without a flashlight, you just can't really see much. It's too bad. Well, this is interesting. The seats are different. It's weird because the taller headrest is the passenger seat, whereas the steering wheel is on the left side and it has a lower headrest. I would have thought it would make sense to be the other way around, but maybe they modeled this after someone's real car, you know, a real Liberty Walk car or something. Interesting. Curious. Alright. The last thing we have are just a couple rip details here in front of the windshield. No windshield wiper blades. That's another thing missing from this line of cars. So there's actually a lot of deficiencies in these Grachan cars, but I still like them because, you know, these Liberty Walk kits just really put them over the top. So let's let this thing go for a little spin here on the solar coaster and compare it to a couple other cars. So following in the family of Mazda, this is a Familia from Konami, a rotary coupe. I think this is considered a small Familia, not the Grand Familia that this is based off of. Because if you look, it's ignoring even the fender flares. The Grand Familia is just bigger, which would make sense, being a grand version. Here's another Konami. This is a Savannah GT, which again, in Japan they're called Savannahs. In export markets they're called RX3s. So I think the solar spin is having a hard time. So yeah, this is based off the Grand Familia. It's basically a Grand Familia, but with a rotary engine. So then it does match the Aoshima a lot better. So the regular Familia is a smaller car, and it's gonna go. So I think the last RX series that we all recognize is the FD3S there. Right, this is by Kyosho. This is from some Initial D cartoon collection. It's not the best RX-7 out there. I think the TLV is probably better, but it's also more expensive. And mine has paint rash, so I didn't bring it out. Okay, well that's it for comparisons. Alright, so my Aoshima Grachan Collection is almost complete. I think there's a 1971 Skyline Hako Suka that I have to get still. But I think that might be the very last casting, and then when that happens, I'll do a video on all of the different castings that Aoshima did for these Grachan cars. But unfortunately, you know, these cars are expensive. You can just look it up on eBay, so I haven't pulled the trigger on the last one yet. I also think there's a new Grachan series coming out this year. Maybe it's Collection 12 or Collection 13. And it includes that 1971, so I'm going to wait for that, and hopefully it won't be overpriced, being a brand new release. Although I don't know when it's going to be released, but you can look it up online. Alright guys, well thanks for watching again, and we'll see you in the next spin go round.